What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of So. This is the World Christian Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle. And this is your other host, Jasmine. As always, thank you for joining us like you guys do every single week. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss when we drop a video. Make sure to also give us a follow over on Rumble. The link to that is in the description box down below. And if you need some coffee for your mornings, you need energy, you want some tea, some hot cocoa, go hit up Coffee Brand Coffee and use our code on screen, STITW pod. Once again, it's right on the screen. It'll save you 10%. All right. With that being said, let's jump into our first topic. All right. So our first topic, as you can see on the screen, it says Britney Spears had an excruciating experience with abortion pills and she's not alone. I think this is from like a new book she's writing, or it's out now. Something like that. A lot of details have been coming out lately about her, so I'm assuming there's a book out at the moment. But according to this article, it says abortion businesses want women to believe that abortion is normal, that abortion is easy, and with that, pro-life states now able to pass laws protecting preborn children. The abortion industry wants more than ever for women to believe there's no easier way to kill your preborn child than with the abortion pill. It's touted as nothing more than bringing down a missed period, and abortion advocates claim it's safer than Tylenol. If you guys don't know, we've actually talked about this on our podcast before. But as you can see, it says news broke last week that Spears' tell-all memoir, it was a book. Because Justin, okay, I ain't even got to read this. Justin, she wanted to have the baby or something, and Justin said he didn't want to have a baby. That's what it was. And she got the abortion because of him, because he said he wasn't ready to have be a dad yet. Justin, however, reportedly said we weren't ready to have a baby in our lives. But she said that he claimed he wasn't ready to be a dad in like a whole other part of the book. So that's what that is. So it was important that no one found out about the pregnancy or the abortion, which meant doing everything at home, wrote Spears, who said her family didn't even know. She called the pain from the abortion pills excruciating. I kept crying and sobbing until it was all over. It took hours, and I don't remember how it ended, but I do, 20 years later, remember the pain of it and the fear. As she cried, Justin reportedly thought maybe music would help, so he played guitar. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. That's guys have no clue.
Yeah, nice effort, I guess. You pressured your girl into killing your child, and maybe music will help. Cry me a river, Justin.
Right? Remember at the time when that song came out, everybody like felt so bad for him because it was about like Britney cheating on him or something. And then he went into it more on the second album. There was like a song on there. I can't remember the name, but the music video, he's like he catches the girl kissing his best friend in like a stairwell or something. That was like the music video. He starts fighting the guy. That was supposed to be about her too, cheating on him. And it's just like, sir, what is this?
Yeah, that's so sad.
That is. It is. But moving on from her and Justin's situation, she is not alone. The pressure Spears felt to have an abortion that she didn't truly want is something many women face. 64% of women have undergone an abortion who have undergone an abortion say they felt at least some form of pressure to abort, whether that was from the boyfriend or family members or was due to educational or financial pressures. This disputes the idea that abortion is about female empowerment and freedom of choice. Now, in sharing how painful the experience was for her, Spears is acknowledging that the stories shared by countless other women were just as horrible as the women have said. Live Action's I Saw My Baby campaign shared some of these stories. So I'm going to read the first one here, and then we're going to talk about it. Because we have talked about this before on the podcast, the whole abortion pill. And it isn't like they say it is. It's not like missing your period or taking Tylenol. But Elizabeth G's experience with the abortion pill is documented and the Attorney General of Indiana's response to a lawsuit filed by Whole Woman's Health Alliance, an abortion chain. After taking the second drug in the abortion pill regimen, Elizabeth began to bleed heavily. There was so much pain and blood, I thought I might die, she said. Finally, she passed the gestational sac. It was transparent yellow, about the size and shape of a tennis ball. When I picked it up, I could see the baby inside. He looked like a little gummy bear. I sat and held him and cried.
Wow.
That's sad. And just for all the people saying, it's just a fetus, it's just a clump of cells. When I picked it up, I could see the baby inside. It's literally a baby.
Yeah, I can't stand the dehumanization. And they say, follow the science, follow the science,
Mm-hmm.
and yet we completely ignore the science of fetal development. And we pretend it's just a fetus. Like that fetus in Latin means child, right? Like it is a
Thank
child.
you.
And it's just so the delusion that the mainstream is pushing onto women that this is, just like Tylenol, and it's, no big deal. It's just a clump of cells. You just take a pill in the comfort of your own home, buy you some snacks, cuddle up with a blanket. And the reality that Britney Spears will second is that no, it's actually traumatic and horrible. It's very dangerous because there's no medical supervision going on.
Yup.
I've also heard that they don't even really follow up with you.
Nope.
It's really horrible. And then sometimes, I covered this one on my channel too. I think I covered this on my channel about how they won't even check. Some of the doctors won't even like do a pregnancy, or not a pregnancy test, but a test to see how far along you are. So they gave one woman an abortion pill, thinking that because of, what she was telling them, that she was like, 6 to 8 weeks. She was 36 weeks or something like that. It was like third trimester. She had a fully formed baby when she took the abortion pill. So the messaging doesn't match the reality, you know?
Does would the pill even work when the baby's that like far along?
Apparently, because I did read this on Live Action's website too. So it's documented, and I don't know if she ended up suing them or what, but yeah, I read it on their website too.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was
I
crazy.
I can't even imagine because most of the stories we hear, women are like in the first trimester. So when the the baby comes out, they're just like holding it in their hand,
Hmm.
right? I think we watched the Jubilee video on my channel before. I can't remember the middle ground video, but the black girl that was fighting for abortion then told her abortion story, and she said how she was holding the baby in her hand, saw that it was a baby, not a clump of cells, because that's what everybody else on her side was fighting for, including her, until she told the story, which was very weird. And it's just saying how she was like crying for her child. But then she went back into like the deep programming of like, it's not a baby, it's not this. It's like you literally just told us this story.
Yeah.
Now
Why
you're
do you
holding your
think
child.
Yeah, why do you think they do that? Why? Because I feel like some of the most fiercest advocates for abortion are people who have themselves had an abortion. So why do you think that is, that she was crying over her baby in her palm, and yet is, an activist for this?
I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how you can keep the lies going, because that's like that movie we watched, Unplanned, where it talked about Abby Johnson. She did the same thing. It literally started off showing her getting 2 abortions at different time periods before going on to work at Planned Parenthood. And it's like, lady, I don't know. And then she's sitting there trying to convince her family, what we do is for the betterment of women and blah, blah, blah. And of course, the family don't know she had these abortions, but she knows.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't understand how you're like pushing this narrative when you yourself had the abortion both ways. You had it in the clinic where they like vacuumed the kid out. And then you also had the abortion pill, which you complained about. Like you called them on the phone and complained about it, and they did not care about you. And then you go work for these people.
And this is all the story of Abby Johnson, who was, if you guys are unfamiliar, a former Planned Parenthood director
Yeah.
who became a pro-life activist because she realized the truth. And they have a movie out, highly recommend. It's called Unplanned, and currently you can watch it on Tubi for free. So watch that because it's fascinating. But yeah, and it's my answer is I think that the reality is so grave that they can't face it, and so therefore they lean on the justification that, oh well, it's just a clump of cells, and like, you guys, you are all wrong trying to shame people because they themselves feel so shamed, so they're trying to like block it and justify and it becomes like this super cognitive dissonance for them, because to face the reality but then also to not have Christ in your life, because there's no condemnation in Christ Jesus. But if you're not in Christ Jesus, then wouldn't the reality of this horrific thing that you've done to your child, wouldn't that just break your soul,
Yeah. You might be right. It's just, it's still a weird thing to witness, though. Because, like, we know Abby Johnson's story. So we know watching the movie, we're just like, why are you fighting for this so hard when you know what the truth is? But then, like, watching that Jubilee episode, it was just weird to watch in real time. You're fighting for it. You tell the story of holding the kid and how you cried for them, just to immediately be like, no, 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 it's a clump of cells. That's a clump of cells. That's for women's betterment. It's like, take 5 seconds to think about what you just told all of us. The
Yeah.
panel, the cameras. It just seems like you immediately jump back into that.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, it sounds like you still need to grieve over what happened. And like you said, like, you need Jesus in your life, honestly, to properly fully understand what's happening, because
Mm-hmm.
you're
Yeah.
not all the way there mentally. Because I'm pretty sure that was traumatic. She probably listening to them like, oh, I'm just going to bleed like a period and I'll be done. That's it. And that did not happen.
Yeah. It's like hemorrhaging almost.
Yeah.
So, and then, that brings me to another thought that I had with the Britney Spears situation is, who does it benefit really? Like, for the father to pressure the mother into aborting. It's definitely, like you say, it's women's empowerment, but he wasn't ready to be a dad. So he got to basically manipulate emotions here. Sounds like it benefited him and left her with a very deep scar emotionally,
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they break up. He moves on. He has a whole family now. He has kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went on and had kids. So it's like, why couldn't y'all have this kid?
Yeah.
Like, you were already there. Even if he's just like, I'm not ready to be a dad. You both are like rich, super pop stars. Okay. Like, you can't even sit here and be like, we don't have the money for this child and it's rough for us. You could have
Yeah.
had that child.
You chose you idolized your career,
Yeah.
and you sacrificed your own child at the altar of
Yep.
your idol, yourself, your vanity, your money, your whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about child sacrifice in America, starting with the music industry. I've also heard of the former Pussycat doll, Kiara Jones. If you guys haven't seen the interview with her, I covered it on my channel quite some time ago, but she tells her story about abortion and how she was pressured by, I think it was the label she was under, or whoever ran, like, their managers or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy too. So there's a lot of dark stuff going on. And that's probably why you see so many celebrities being so pro-abortion online. It's because to face the reality that they might be wrong, they've built up so much cognitive dissonance that they don't even piece the two together.
Yup.
Because otherwise, like, wow, how do you even, I don't even know that I could face that reality, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't do it. To be real with you, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I like Lauryn Hill has a song on her first, well, I guess only album, because I don't think she ever had another one. It's called Zion. And in it, literally, she talks about how like when she found out she was pregnant, everybody wanted her to like abort it because they're like, you need to think about your career. And instead, she said she knelt down and prayed about it. An angel told her what it was and to keep the baby, and she kept the baby.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
That's amazing.
yeah, she ended up having a little boy, and then she ended up having more kids after that. And it is so crazy when you think about it because everybody's like, this is going to ruin your music career. In reality, that album sold so much, and she went down as like one of the greats. And that's like
Mhm.
all her music. Like, I know she did stuff with the Fugees and stuff prior to that, but for a solo album, that's all we really got. And she's
Yeah.
still talked about as like one of the greats in that genre of music to
Yeah.
this day. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that really would have ruined her career. Like, she's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like the value, like, I get it, right? To be in a position where you could have this career of success and fame in like a public space is tempting for people. And I get that because it's so, like, it's a one shot. Like, how many people get this opportunity, right? And you're just gonna, choose a kid over that. Like, that's so common, so peasant, you know. But in reality, we see that in scripture, the children are talked about as a reward. Children are a
Yeah.
reward. The fruit of the womb is a reward. So that just shows how backwards our society is. Like,
Hmm.
it's so sad the way that motherhood is looked at as like a lesser than path. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're just a mom. Like, you could be a superstar, but you're just a mom. You could
Yeah.
be a mom and a superstar, but probably don't want to do that. They'll just talk you out of it or whatever.
Yeah. Motherhood is looked down upon. If you think about all the women that are like stay at home moms and how people are just like, oh, you're a stay at home mom.
Mhm.
And it's like you don't even realize how great of a job that is. Like, you
Mhm.
have no idea. I remember my own mom, and I'm pretty sure that's just probably due to how she was raised and everything, because she kind of was raising me the same way, and then I broke that and I went the opposite direction. But upon like finding out I was getting married, she got so mad about that for various reasons. And one of the reasons was because I was going to be a housewife. And she's just like, you're really gonna do that? Don't let him take away, because I know you're smarter than this and you have an entrepreneurial spirit and you're a hard worker and blah blah. And I'm just looking at her like, that's not the path. I get why you think that's the path because of like how you were raised in like a single parent household. So that's all you know. You just saw your mom working, right? And then you worked. But I witnessed that none of that worked. Versus like what we're doing now works. It's how
Yeah.
families traditionally used to be before feminism came in. Now, is everything perfect? No. And I think that's where a lot of people also flip out at. They're like, it's not a perfect system because if the man is abusive, then you have no money and you're stuck and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, I get it. That may happen to some people depending like how you choose your partner or whatever. But that doesn't happen all the time. And I really hate that that's painted as like the majority picture.
Yeah.
When like that happens to anybody, I could work and still be abused.
Yeah.
And people don't
Definitely.
ever think about that. It's like I can still have a job, go 50-50 on bills or whatever, or be abused into paying more. Or because all it is like emotional. If a guy wanted to, like if he emotionally talks down on you enough and you just think like, oh, nobody else is gonna want me, blah blah. Kind of like the Boondocks clip with the killer kung fu wolf chick. I
I
can't
haven't.
really say what the title is because there's a swear word in there, but there's a clip in there where it shows every past relationship she had was emotionally abusive, and it showed how all the men talked to her. And they're
Mm.
like you call this chicken, you stupid bee, and they're like slapping the plate and slapping her. And then you have a dude drunk on the couch that's a loser. He was like, "You fat, ain't nobody gonna want you but me. I'm the only one that loves you. Now give me the keys to your car." Like she's going through all these relationships where she just keeps getting with the wrong guy, and
Hmm.
she worked. So like it could happen to anybody.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. And it's like if you if you value the currency of things, then then you'll put a career on a pedestal, and that's fine if you want to choose that career path. I don't think it's great for society overall if like too many women do it, but honestly, I am so fulfilled as a wife and a mother, and I just thank God every day that he's allowed me to live this life. Like I genuinely have so much freedom, and it just it's so sad to me. Like, okay, so even the phrasing stay at home mom is weird. Like, you don't say like go to a desk mom, or go to the office mom. Like I just don't understand why we label it like that, but I get it, right? Cuz that's just what it is. But you're investing in your family,
Yeah.
and we're just doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
So like some people are investing in their, financial goals or whatever and outsourcing their children's development or whatever to the public school system, to daycare, to
Uh-huh.
babysitters or whatever it is.
Yep.
And we're just choosing to forego the outsourcing and step in. And that's not to shame moms who are working moms. You could even have a part-time job, when the kids get older, you can work things out. You could be an entrepreneur. There's a whole thing called mompreneur. And people have blogs and YouTube channels and all these things. So don't if you're a woman watching this, don't buy into the lies. Like you can
Yeah.
have a really fulfilling life as long as you have a partner who is supportive, has good
Mhm.
morals. You don't want to invest your life into one of these like boondocks guys. You don't want that, but yeah, it could be a beautiful life, and I'm so grateful I get to live it.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like there was a study done, and I think we've talked about this. Maybe not on this channel. Maybe it was my channel. Everything is so blurred at this point, but there was like a study done where it was like 85 or 86% of women stated that if they really could, they would prefer to be stay-at-home wives. They don't really want to go out and work in the world. They really don't want to do that.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, okay, so me personally, I went to college and I got an associate's degree right out of high school. And then I joined the army 6 months later. And after the army, I had other jobs that could have been like lifelong or like, career paths that could have been lifelong. I could have stayed in that niche and done well. Um, but I chose to be a mom, and it's the best job I've ever had. It is the most hardest, most exhausting one I've ever had, but it is even more exhausting than the army, let me tell you. but but it really is so fulfilling, and I have so many amazing moments with my kids that I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not missing this. Like, this is awesome. And
Yeah.
especially there's a lot of research coming out about the effects of even daycare on children who are 0 to 3 years old, and how it can cause issues with attachment. And so I'm like, whew, I'm so glad that ain't me right now, because I don't know. I'm just, I was, my mom wasn't a stay-at-home mom, and I did okay, Like, I'm not saying it's devastating,
Yeah.
but it's just, it's awesome. And it's a privilege, it really is. At least in this economy, it is.
Yeah, it is. Because most people with their debts, um, they can't live off of one salary.
hmm And
It's
that,
hard.
yeah, and that just shows the importance of living within your means, being willing to make sacrifices. So maybe you don't get the best house, maybe you don't get the best whatever,
Hmm.
or maybe that pushes your husband to want to make more money instead of settling where he's comfortable. Maybe he's like, hey, I want my family to be homeschooled. I want my wife to be able to be home with the kids because that's what she wants to do, or whatever. And so it pushes him to like whatever. Or you guys make it a family business, like you have some kind of family business. A lot of people do that too.
Yep.
So there's ways you can make it work. We don't have to just buy into the status quo.
Yeah. Especially with like housing and stuff too. I've seen people be like, we live, but depending on how big the family is, but they're like, we live in a tiny house now, or we live in an RV. We're on the road whenever we want to be on the road. There's ways to go about all of this. You got to figure out what
Right.
works for your family at the end of the day.
Right. And it even goes for like single moms. So a lot of these women who are in these situations where they are facing like the temptation of abortion, um I hate the lies. I hate the lies that they're being told, like, oh, you have to sacrifice your career. You have to sacrifice your financial stability, your future, whatever. But you're not looking at what you're giving up. You're giving up a child. You're giving
Yep.
up a reward that the Bible calls a reward.
Yep.
So it's just so sad, and what a blessing your child could be in your life. You just won't even give them a chance.
Yeah. I always hate to hear the excuses where it's just like, I'm not ready for this yet, or this isn't the guy I wanted to have the family with. And it's like, so why did you let him hit raw if that's the case? So you were, I don't know. That's a whole other thing too. I understand people get caught up in like sex and everything, but I don't know. I just never understood it. I never understood sleeping with somebody that I could never picture like a future with on like
Yeah.
some level or capacity. Like even if just did like date. I've had people like they've been dating this person for years and they're just like, "Oh yeah, we're not ready yet, so we're just going to go get this abortion." It's like you can't picture a child with this person. It's been like 5 years. What is this
That's
relationship?
that blows my mind, honestly. I just don't understand it. Like, how can you be so selfish? I know that's,
I don't
but we're
know.
talking about like I'm sure that sounds judgmental to people, but we're talking about the murder of your child. Like, this is a baby, and abortion is really brutal. Go ahead if you haven't already, liveaction.com or
Oh, yeah.
or their YouTube channel, and watch the animated depiction of what an abortion entails, and tell me that's not completely gut-wrenching and brutal and savage and disgusting. Like, it just is. And even the chemical abortion, it's it's just inhumane.
It is. Actually, there's a picture in this article where a woman has like her 10-week-old baby in her hand. Should I show it? I don't know if we already have issues with YouTube. I don't know if I should show the picture or not.
I mean, don't we always have something,
We
even
always
if
have issues.
we get accused of like covering the uh vote. I'm not even gonna say the word that starts with E and sounds like erection,
Oh man.
but talking about anything, even the word Tylenol got us in trouble. So go ahead
Oh
and take a
yeah.
picture if you want to, I guess.
Yeah, might as well. Cause now I have to keep they're just like, are you who you say you are? It's like, bruh, we've done this like 10 times. Why do you keep bothering me? All right, but if you're looking at the screen, this is literally a photo of a 10-week-old baby aborted by the pill. So this is like after you bleed out, you feel like you're dying. This is literally what comes out of your body.
Wow, that is so tragic.
You gonna tell me that's not a human? That's not a baby? You gonna tell me that's a clump of cells? That's a baby. That's a baby. And the fact is, me and you have had ultrasounds before because you got kids. I'm about to have a kid. When they're in there, even that big, they could be moving.
Oh yeah. Oh
I know
yeah.
usually they, because I know my ultrasound tech was like, your baby's moving a lot. Usually they don't move at this stage. My It was active at that little. He was in there just like, mm, mm.
Yeah, they've got a heartbeat. They're really
Yeah,
a
they're
person.
everything.
It's so sad to me. It just is absolutely devastating.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I just want, if y'all take anything from this, all those lies they be telling y'all, talking about it's healthcare, it's women empowerment. Most women are coerced and forced into having that abortion. That's all it is. And if you live in a state like mine where election, I think it's like 2 weeks now, or it'll be a week out by the time this goes up, maybe. They about to pass a bill where most people are for the abortion, right? They have no idea that once this passes, anybody can go. Kids don't even need their parents' permission to go get one if they want to go get
Wow.
one. That's what this is going to turn into, because all these people keep talking about female empowerment, our body, our choice. We could do whatever we want. It's like, okay, so when the dude forces you to go get one and there's no questioning about it. So that means he could have raped you. This could have been incest. This could have been anything. And he's just like, you're going to go in there and get it and I'm going to keep doing it. Nobody's going to question you because there's no questioning coming with this anymore.
No.
Even to the point like you can get these pills like at a CVS or a Walgreens.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't even got to go to a Planned Parenthood at this point.
It's so sick.
It
It is
is.
so
It's
sick.
messed up.
Yeah, and just the gall of them calling it female empowerment.
And
First of
it's
all,
not.
what about all the things you just mentioned? What about the females who are being murdered this way? There's little girls being killed in the womb too. So where's their empowerment?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Black Lives Matter. We're dying the most through abortions.
Tell me about it. And I think I may have mentioned this before on this podcast, but Margaret Sanger, who's the founder of Planned Parenthood,
Yeah,
was a eugenicist and wanted to rid the world of the black race. And now, like you just mentioned, I think it's in New York, I believe, that more black babies are aborted than born. So she would be
probably.
quite proud of how her foundation turned out.
It's all evil.
Hmm.
It's all evil, and y'all need to recognize that.
Yeah, the Nazis were inspired by the founder of Planned Parenthood. Legit. That's a thing.
They don't understand that. They don't understand the term Nazi.
Yeah, they don't even get me started.
If you fight for babies' rights, you're a Nazi. So like they don't understand anything.
Yeah,
It's messed up. It's messed
terrible.
up. But guys, let us know what you think about all of this, the abortion pill, everything, in the comment section down below, and maybe we will choose your comment to react to in next week's episode. All right, guys, after the podcast, make sure you go check out Jasmynne's channel. It's called Bold Reflections YT right here on YouTube. She basically discusses topics about life, faith, and culture through a Christ-focused perspective. Everything you're getting from her here, you're going to get way more over on her channel. She's done interviews with people. It's awesome. When you get the chance, hit the link in the description box down below and go check her channel out. You will not regret it. Okay, so for this week's comments, we actually have two. The first one is from Cherished Beloved, and it is from the Gideon podcast, where he gave his life over to God. She says, I suppose I should mention I'm Purple Honey in case you didn't recognize me. But anyways, we knew. I couldn't remember what your original name was. We knew you changed your name, though. We just couldn't remember what the original was. I actually think you said Purple Honey, though.
I don't know. I'm always gonna cherish beloved. I'm always gonna call you Purple Honey. Okay, so that's just your name now.
But she says at the 1408 mark, it sounds a little like Mormonism. Also, it hurts when people dismiss Paul's writings. Like, why are you even a Christian? If you're just going to be dismissing a few books in the Bible, you might as well just be secular. And she says the college thing is tough. My best friend's friend has a trans man, so a woman, as his dorm roommate. The craziest thing is that you can see the stark contrast in their room. The actual guy has Naruto posters on his wall, while the trans man, the woman, has a Barbie poster and makeup. Like, why are you even trying to switch teams?
Why though? So the woman is in the dorm room with a man because they are confused, but they're still putting up Barbie posters?
But still acting like a woman.
I don't understand.
I don't understand that either. Just be a woman and go in the woman's dorms.
Like, I get it if you're gonna be like a masculine dude.
Right? Like a stud would be like a lesbian.
Yeah, like kind of butch. But
all right,
but you're still doing the feminine thing, so okay.
I don't know either.
College kids.
It doesn't make any sense. And then also the Paul's writings things. I think I mentioned that too in that podcast. I don't understand why people always dismiss his writings or other things in the Bible that they don't like, that doesn't fit with their lifestyle. It's like, look, either you believe it or you don't. You can't pick and choose what's going on here.
Yeah. Wow. I've heard that too, of people just being like, well, Paul, he was still a sinner, so he could have been wrong about this. And it's like, but the Bible is the Bible, though.
Right? It's like, why is it in here then? All right, we're going to go to the next one. All right, this comment is from last week's episode from Abrupt Crash. He says, I'm finna start blessing my Reese's. Excellent show. God bless.
Thank you.
Hey, if I can get y'all to start blessing y'all everything, it means I did my job.
Don't you eat them demon bananas.
I've been thinking about that a lot since you said it. I was watching MasterChef, and one of the ingredients in their box was a banana, and I was like, it's the demon banana.
They didn't bless it.
No, they didn't. That's why their dishes was messed up. All the people that cooked with it, they all had a bad dish.
That demon was like, well, you put some cinnamon in here. I'm gonna just take that out real quick. You're gonna lose. Oh gosh.
All right, y'all. That was this week's comments. As you guys know, keep leaving them. I know we be getting screwed so much by YouTube. That's why we have the Rumble. You need to go follow us on Rumble and leave comments over there. Okay? Watch it over there. Because I don't know what's happening over here anymore. Like, all the demons at YouTube are just like, shut up. They keep screwing us over every week.
Tell me about it.
But yeah, just keep leaving them, guys. Keep leaving them and we'll respond to them. All right. So as you guys can see on screen, we have a video up and it says Young Don casting out demons and baptizing men. The clip I'm going to play from here, it's about 2 minutes long. It's called Deliverance from Demons. So to give you some backstory, since we're skipping about a third of this video, young Don Reborn goes to Chris LaSala's church. Chris LaSala is a Christian YouTuber, and he has a deliverance ministry. And ever since they've linked up, young Don not only was delivered from his demons by Chris in a Zoom call or StreamYard, whatever they used. It was off stream, but he was still recording, so he ended up making a video and showing us. Apparently, he got delivered of his demons on stream. Him and Chris been cool ever since. He goes to his church, and I guess now young Don delivers people from demons. I don't know. We're gonna watch it, and then we're gonna talk about it. Because I was curious to see Jasmynne's point of view on this, as well as you guys at home. Because I already shared it with my Christian group on Discord, and it was interesting responses from them as well. So let's just dive in, and then we'll discuss it.
Come out.
You have to flee. Come out of this, brother. Out! Anger, fear, and lust, come out of him right now in Jesus' name.
Come out. Come out. Come out. Satan, I command you to come out of him. I command you to come out of him, out of his body. Come out of his body. Come out of him. The power of Jesus Christ, come out of him. Go where you belong. Release him, Satan. Yeah, Jesus. Come out. Jesus Christ. Down in the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Come out of it. In the name of Jesus. I command you to come out. In the name of Jesus.
You're not going to get out the door. You're not going to get out the door, buddy. Come out.
Come out.
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 Out. You're defeated. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I'm out of him right now. I'm out of him right now. Look at me. Look at me. Look
Fire
at
in
me.
his stomach.
Look
Fire
at
in his
me.
chest.
Open your eyes. You got to come out of him today, right now.
Jesus Christ.
Come out.
Come out. Come out. Come out of him. In the name of the Lord. Come out. Come out.
All the way out.
Fire on his back. Come out of him.
Time to go.
Come out, Satan.
Amen.
Come out, Satan.
All right, brother. Tried to get out the door, but we didn't have to leave.
Before I get your opinion, just to let everybody else know, I know what deliverance is. I know the Bible verses. I know all of that. I'm not confused. I'm not questioning if deliverance is a real thing or not. I believe deliverance is a real thing. Okay? Just so we're all on the same page. With that said, what is your opinion about the video you saw?
It is. Somebody asked me about deliverance, my opinion on deliverance pastors on one of my videos, and I didn't want to give like a definitive answer, and the reason for that is because I grew up in a Pentecostal church, so I've seen this in my own life. Like, I've seen this with my own eyes. So now, does that mean it's genuine? I don't know, but I have seen the convulsing and the grunting and all of that. I've seen that before. So I struggle with it though, because sometimes in charismatic ministries, and when I mean charismatic, I mean like they believe that the spiritual gifts have continued, like tongues and dancing in the spirit or being slain in the spirit. They believe that continues. Not just cessationists, which believe that stopped after basically Acts, the book of Acts. Like it was like a one-time thing. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people are expected to conduct themselves a certain way, and maybe some people are genuine, and then maybe some people are reacting to the social situation that is expected from them. What do you think?
Like I said, I believe deliverance is a real thing. And like I said, all the verses and stuff where it says, some people have the gift of deliverance. If you believe, the disciples were able to get that gift through Jesus. I have no issues with believing in a demon being delivered out of somebody's body. Do I believe that's what they just did in that video? No.
Why?
I believe all that's first off. I saw another video where Chris LaSala himself, and this is like a recent video too. This actually came out after that vlog video. Him and Young Don were doing a demon deliverance party on Discord. So there's like a bunch of young men in there. They were getting the demons out of them or whatever.
Over Discord?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So in there, Chris said he still has demons and he's had them for years, which gave me a question mark because I'm like, sir, aren't you a pastor? How do you have demons? Because there's Bible where when you're saved, you don't have demons anymore, yet their belief is that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that personally, but whatever.
So would you say that like Christians, like true born again Christians who are following Christ, you're saying that you don't believe that they can have demons, and that maybe some of these people are just non-believers? Is that your position?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also believe with young Don being so young in his faith, because now he's delivering demons. The fact that all the flip-flopping and I don't know if true belief is there yet, because he's still a baby in Christ as well. And I know in the Bible we like to believe that I don't know why I'm having a brain fart right now. But I think it's like Paul or somebody. They're just like, well, he started preaching immediately after he learned. It's like actually he went away and studied for a couple years before he came back to preach. So it wasn't like immediate. It wasn't like I'm Christian, y'all, and I'm out on the streets tomorrow and I'm preaching this word that I barely know. Right. So no, I don't believe somebody this new who flip-flopped around so much, who's now doing this for like maybe a month or two, is delivering demons. I don't believe that. Also, Chris's whole thing is that like to get the demon out, like you saw the trash can in the video, he did that with young Don too when he delivered him of his demons over like webcam. And it made me think of the Bible verse, Matthew 12:43-45. And I'm gonna just pull it up just so everybody can see what I'm seeing. But this is the NASB version of it. But it says, now when the unclean spirit goes out of a man, it passes through waterless places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to my house from which I came, and when it comes, it finds it unoccupied, swept, and put in order. Then it goes and takes along with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there, and the last state of that man becomes worse than the first. That is the way it will always be with this evil generation. The first thing I thought of watching that video was not only this verse, but literally the TikTok video we watched last week, where the guy was talking about how the witch doctor was like, I don't understand how I'm delivering demons from people and they end up worse over time.
Mm.
It's like, because that demon has nowhere to go. It's not like you're doing what Jesus did. Remember when Jesus used to cast out demons and he would put them in places where they literally could not come back to harm anybody, period, whether it's the main person they just left or another host or another body or whatever. Jesus just got rid of them. And he gave his disciples that power as well. And this, if you actually look at the breakdown of all of this, it's explained the same way, because I could bring this up too. The breakdown of this verse. It says, Jesus now describes what happens to a demon who leaves a person without being sent to the inescapable abyss or pit to await God's judgment. And it goes on, it basically explains this for the rest of this as well. So my thinking was, if this is real, let's just be generous. It's real. You guys delivered a demon into a trash bucket. Who's to say that person is fine in the long run? It's like they may feel good today because you got that out of them today. Who's to say that demon's not going to come back more aggressive with more demons, like the literal Bible passage says?
Yeah, and then I think about okay, these deliverance ministries, because I've had to ponder this since I got that one comment that asked me directly, and I'm like, look, I'm not an expert in all of this, but yeah, I've seen Isaiah Saldivar and I've seen, some of these other guys, and I've also heard them say things that I know not to be true in other regards. You and I have had this conversation off camera, but so it kind of makes me think that okay, well, everybody can be wrong about things. I'm wrong about things, you're wrong about things, that's fine, but is their whole ministry is it based on why don't we see this everywhere? I mean, are people called to different things, or I watched one where he was in a movie theater, and I don't know if he held his ministry thing there and multiple people were manifesting it. It can be a little theatrical, and also you're record to me, it gives me the heebie-jeebies for somebody to record that. That seems like something that, is it for show? Seems like not something you'd want to blast that person with, I don't know. I'm all over the place, but I don't know.
All of this reminds me, because I know a lot of, there's people in my Discord Christian group that was well, they're younger, so their whole thing is that the YouTube deliverance ministries is making this popular, right? What they don't know is when we were kids, this was already a thing. Just like when we were not born, this was already a thing at certain churches. But I remember being a kid, and I remember so many of these ministries that aired on local channels, right? We're not even talking about big networks and mega churches at this point. Local networks got caught having actors and actresses just fake all this crap out. There's also YouTube ministries that have been busted doing the same thing.
Really? I haven't heard of anything.
So it's just kind of it's very hard to believe that y'all are doing this, especially with the little bit of the pastor has demons, so pastor not saved. That's interesting. That's a red flag to me. Now you got this dude who's been studying with you for a month or two or whatever, delivering demons. That's kind of hard to believe as well. But like I said, let's just say this is true. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. You having these people throw up the demon in a trash bucket. So you're not sending it anywhere where it cannot come back. It's going to come back stronger and harder, or it's going to find a different host. You didn't fix anything.
Yeah.
It's
and then
a continuous cycle.
Who's discipling them afterwards, Like, is that happening? Because then when the demon comes back with 7 others, they're gonna just be like, all right, well, we're back here. Because what are you filling him back up with?
Because
Yeah, I don't know. I
once you're
struggle.
saved, man, there's no demons to become in
Yeah.
you when you're saved. And there's
So
multiple verses about that.
it sounds to me like they disagree with you and I on this, where Christians can have demons. Like, you can
Yeah,
still be a Christian and also have demons.
yeah. That's what they believe.
Hmm.
I don't believe that in the
I
slightest.
don't think that just doesn't sound right to me, honestly. And
No, it doesn't.
I'm very highly skeptical of some of these ministries. And they tend to be a little bit legalistic too, because if a demon's lurking around every corner and you as a Christian can, catch it through your bananas or whatever it is, then yeah, they come down, and it can get a little legalistic sometimes too.
Yeah.
And anytime I hear some of that legalism, I think back to the church that I grew up in, and like that world that I, was familiar with. And when it gets too close to that I'm like, I don't know. And that could be a bias, because not everything in that world was wrong, but there were things that were wrong.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to, as I walk with Christ and learn more, and we have these conversations, I'm trying to sketch this out too. Like, I am not an expert. Okay, I'm not a theologian, I'm not a pastor, I'm none of these things. I'm just a Christian who's trying to figure this out too. So don't jump down my throat if you completely disagree with me here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm with you. Like I said, they could be right. And they could be casting out, that could have been a demon being casted out. My whole thing is like, if you're putting him into the trash bucket, you're not truly saving this person. Because
And
this is just
also,
going to be a cycle.
I want to see the vomit. They conveniently did not show the vomit.
Oh, there's no vomit.
Oh.
No, it's like, I guess the way young Don explained it when he was delivered from his demon, right? I'm sorry I had to use air quotes because I didn't really believe that either. But it's when you pick up your trash bucket, you're just yawning into it. The demons come out in yawns.
That's how he explained it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't know, but okay, so I watched this and I reacted to this on my channel, but Lila Rose, who is the founder of Live Action, who we actually just read one of their articles earlier in this podcast. So she has a podcast, and she talked to a priest who did exorcisms, a Catholic priest who did exorcisms.
They're usually Catholic.
Yeah, usually. Yeah. And the way he was explaining it was that, like, a possession is very rare. Oppressions can happen more, but like full-blown exorcisms, like the way he was talking about it, it didn't seem like this is like something that happens all the time.
Right.
And you have to be like higher level to be the guy who goes in there, and does this. So like you were saying, like, newer Christian, you probably aren't going to be performing an exorcism. So it does kind of cast a little bit of doubt. No offense to young Don. I think he's probably got his heart in the right place. I can hope that he's not like trying to, use the Lord's name for clout and, gain. But yeah, there's some question marks, to be quite honest with you.
It is. Because I know when we talk about spirits, we always talk about the spirit of anger, right? Spirit of adultery, or people want to talk about the Jezebel spirit and stuff like that. I feel like anybody can be hit with that. I don't think that's a demon, though. I just think everybody just deals with crap, right? You're always going to be tested. Spiritual warfare is real, and
Mhm.
it's us being Christians. Um, you know, the devil's gonna always try to break us in some form or fashion, right? He's gonna test your marriages. He's gonna do all this crap to try to get you. And that's why our relationship with God has to be as close as possible, because things like that aren't going to happen. You
Mhm.
know, that's why I said, I'm like, you can't catch, like, if you're truly saved, you're not catching a demon.
Yeah, because that doesn't jive. Like if the Holy Spirit dwells within you,
Yeah,
the living God is dwelling within you, then how can those two kingdoms coincide? Like it just doesn't.
they can't.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Especially how, like, demons flee when they see Jesus and they hear his name and stuff. So if
Mhm.
somebody is already, like you said, filled with the Holy Spirit, you already have that in you, they can't enter. In one clip I did come across, and made me think of it again because we talked about it off camera, that Castlevania clip with the
Oh, did you watch it?
when the demon
Yeah,
goes into the church. Yeah. Because the priest is just like, you can't enter in here as a demon. This is the house of God. And that demon's like, God ain't been in here in a very long time. He
right. I
bounced.
still get chills when like I remember that scene because I was like, whoa. Like especially considering the times that we live in, like that just rings so true.
Yeah. That was actually a really well written scene. Especially everything the demon said to the priest was like really biblically spot on. They did a really good job with that scene. But everything he said, even if we put it into this context of like, that demon can't enter where God lives.
Mm,
If you don't have God and God don't know you and all that, I'm sorry, but if you're telling me you're a Christian that has demons, you sound like one of the people would be like, but Lord, Lord, didn't I do this in your name? He's probably just
yeah.
like, I don't know you, bruh. Like, you
Wow.
sound like one of those.
Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah, because I think back to, like, remember I told you, and I said this on my channel before too, all the spiritual warfare I went through at the very beginning of my journey, right? I don't really deal with none of that anymore. Like when I compare this time last year, because we're coming up on Halloween, so much crazy crap was happening in my house. So much nonsense was going on. Like I was legit like afraid, scared. And I was dealing with some crazy nonsense. That was at like the very beginning of my journey. We're a year into it, same time point. It's been peaceful, calm. I don't feel none of that no more. All that fear they talking about, you'll have no fear when God is with you and stuff like that. I'm cool. I'm cool. And I noticed yesterday, a random ladybug like appeared in my room. It's just been kicking it in my room. And if y'all know that in Christian world, that ain't nothing but good luck and protection. That's all that means. So it's like like I'm straight. I didn't have none of this last year. Like I'm straight. I'm good. I don't plan to be bothered.
Yeah, and that is one of the best parts of this walk is that you hear other people, non-believers, whatever, talk about how they, when they explain their situations and they're worrying about this or that and it's just like, yeah, man, like focus on the eternal though. Like I get it, we all get caught up in our daily things, but I guess that's one of the things that, at least for me personally, going through what I went through and being alive only because God allowed me to be alive, like it came close.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard for me to like, even if I do get in that mindset of like worry or fear, like it's I just like what are we doing here? Jasmine, God though. Jesus though.
Mhm.
you know, and so I consider it a blessing what happened to me, but that peace that passes understanding,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. And I feel like once you have all that, you're not having no demon in you.
Right, exactly.
You're not, yeah. I don't know. That's how I feel. But you guys let us know in the comment section. What did you think about the clip? How do you feel about deliverance ministries in general in today's times? And just let us know. Let us know. And who knows, maybe we'll pick your comment to go over in next week's episode. Hey, once the podcast is over and you guys have a minute, go ahead and check out my channel. It's titled It's Your Girl Saying. Basically, I go over life topics, Christianity topics. I live stream every Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. EST. On Mondays and Tuesdays, we do what's called the Conservative Christian Show, where we go over all the topics in culture and we look at it through a Christ focused perspective. You know, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I have a show called Christian Game Room where I'm playing video games, but in between segments or pausing the game or whatever, we're having talks about the Bible. We're having talks about God, right? You guys may even bring things to my attention about what's going on in certain areas of Christianity. We just have nice long discussions about all of it. And if you're into any of that, gaming, culture, Christ, all of it, make sure to check out my channel. You will not be disappointed. All right, guys, to end off the podcast, we have a clip from an interview with Tim Ross and Mike Todd. And basically, this clip is like really short and it focuses on what Tim Ross had to say. So let's jump into it and just talk about it really quick.
Let me, because I'll run up on you. Like, ain't gonna be no comment section. IP addresses can turn into physical ones. Joker, there's people in IT for a reason, dog. It ain't nothing but a cash app. Don't think just because you posted that thing online that you safe behind your courageous thumbs. I can get your address in 72 hours. Somebody from India will get it for me. I'm not lying to you. I'm not lying.
All right, so that's a pastor. Apparently.
Wait, you should play out the rest of that for anyone who hasn't seen that already. Same guy.
So this the dude we're supposed to be scared of?
Yeah, I got bread in my pocket. Listen.
I think we both talked about that on our channels.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
As well as the Easter play.
Yeah, I know for sure I talked about that. I don't know if I mentioned Tim Ross, but Tim Ross, if you guys are unfamiliar, that the guy who was laughing is Mike Todd, pastor of mega church called Transformation Church. Tim Ross was his mentor pastor.
Yep.
And that's the guy who's, you know, IP addresses, the real addresses, I'll run up on you. Listen, does that sound like does that sound like a pastor? Does that sound like someone who's transformed by Jesus Christ? Or does that sound like somebody who has an ego problem? Because to me, I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying it either. The people who actually would do something don't tell you they're going to do something.
Yeah, it's so unbecoming of a pastor. Like,
right?
I've heard him justify people or like the things that he said or the things that Mike Todd has said. His podcast, I think, is called The Basement or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, in the basement, I think.
Yeah, and it's just, gosh, he just runs off the mouth. And it's so ridiculous to think of how many people are listening to this that are baby Christians or considering to be Christian and hearing this and thinking this is okay.
Yeah. It really is sad because that's the same podcast when they were talking. They talked about that Easter service where they were just like, I don't know why everybody's mad. We've been running it the past X amount of years and we've saved 900 people so far. And I'm like, with what? You didn't tell the story of anything. You kind of made your own story up. And it just, my thing is, just because you can get 900 people to your church doesn't mean you saved 900 people. Because when we talk about, there's a Bible verse, I can't remember what book it's in, but it talks about the seeds planted in the soils, right? So they're talking about when there's seeds planted and it grows in the thorns and whatnot. Those people really didn't, tree can't do nothing. And you get the seed in the bad soil, so that's not doing nothing. And then you get the seed in the good soil, which, your tree, good fruit, all that happens, right? Just because you planted your seed and you did it so incorrectly, these 900 people are probably in the bad soil and the thorns and the nonsense. They're probably not truly saved. You may have opened their eyes maybe to like Christ, but it seems like it's your version of Christ. It doesn't seem like it's anything biblical that's going on.
Yeah. Yep. And this was one of the parables, or at least, I don't know if it was necessarily a parable, or I think it was a parable, right? The parable of the, I don't know, but so definitely in one of the Gospels, and I think it was likely in Luke.
Yeah, it was the parable of the sower. So you're right.
Okay.
And Luke 8 and Matt 13. So Jesus tells them this. So yeah.
Yeah, so definitely look it up, because it is a very prominent example of what we're seeing. Like, there's a lot of these churches that are like, how many, if you just accepted Christ today, how many, but like, that's great. But is it the true Christ? Is it, are we discipling them? Are we making sure that they know exactly what they're doing? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
not just this like rock concert Jesus, or like in their case, hip hop concert Jesus.
Yeah, because they really do just make their own stuff up. Because I remember there was an interview with Mike Todd that I saw right after the whole Easter thing. And he was saying how he didn't want to become a pastor at first. He just wanted to be the music director guy because he liked music. And they were like, no, you do such a good job. You should be a pastor. So he does the role. But then he was talking about how he doesn't like study scripture or the Bible at all. And I'm watching this interview and I'm just like, well, that explains a lot. And it also was kind of mind blowing because I'm like, you're publicly like saying this out loud, yet you still have people come to your church and follow you, but you don't study or read anything.
He's a great motivational speaker.
You know what? I saw a video from Brandon Tatum earlier where he was reacting to a whole different clip of Mike Todd. He said the same thing. He was like, I don't believe you're a pastor. He was like, everything you're doing, just be a motivational speaker. Because Mike Todd was talking about he buys the expensive clothes that he buys because it's a conversation starter. And then from there, he can somehow bring up Jesus. And I'm like, how is you wearing Balenciaga and Louis Vuitton and all these brands, right? That the average person's like never gonna wear in their lifetime. Personally, I wouldn't want to, finding out like they're all pedo brands, but you know what I'm saying? But you gonna have your hype beast and all that other stuff. So it is what it is. I just don't understand how you spending church funds on that is justified because it's a conversation starter.
Yeah, and that's he's been blessed with so much material wealth, and that's not inherently evil, but couldn't you, instead of putting these brands on and flaunting it, you could really make a difference with that money? And I'm not saying that you don't already give to charities or to feeding the homeless or whatever, but that $25,000 pair of shoes, that could have changed somebody's life,
Yeah.
But you're spending it on vanity, essentially.
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause
you
like
don't have to wear that. Even if you are wealthy, you don't have to wear that.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, like, because he says fashion's the conversation starter. I have like $10, $15 shirts that have Bible verses on them that have literally became conversation starters when I'm at the store.
That's deep.
Literally. I didn't have to spend $900 on a white tee with nothing on it just so somebody could be like, wow, you're fresh. Like,
Yeah, just it's so egotistical. And Tim
it
Ross, like, he lost me, I think, not only with the bread in the pocket thing, but with the like his justifying swearing, you know? Like, look,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you gave up swearing. You've talked about that before. I am trying to do better. It's not easy for me. And I know, but listen, we're all on this walk, and you know, that's one of the things that I'm still working on. I struggle with it. I definitely don't have a sailor mouth, but you know, flips out every now and then.
Yeah.
But to see a pastor like openly cussing and then just saying, I think what was his justification? Do you remember?
He said, to be able to easier talk to people. He said God talked to him and said he should be allowed to swear to talk to like the average person, which I thought was so weird because ever since I've been saved and I don't talk like that anymore. And I know majority of the time you don't talk like that either. I know you said you slip up sometimes, but like 9 times out of 10, you don't talk like that.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we've both had situations where people have just talked to us and we've been able to leave good impressions because this might be the point in my life. This is probably the most random people have ever came up to me and I'm just having conversations with them.
Wow.
And I don't have to swear to get the point across at all. Like it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, a lot of people, they curse and they think that it makes them more enunciated and more, you know what I mean, like getting their point across, like you said.
Yeah.
But there is so much restraint and so much, um, what would be the word? Just respect that you can gain in articulating your message just as strongly by being calm, cool, and collected, and using words that are much more powerful and expanding your vocabulary, that you are so much more high regarded and respected by doing it that way as opposed to just like, you know, running off the mouth. So,
Yeah.
and that's something I'm still, like I said, I'm still working on it. Okay, I am. But I'm not Tim Ross, whereas like, you know, God told me I could do it, so I'm gonna keep doing it, and I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
That's my Tim Ross impression.
Yeah. Something's just, I don't know. That whole church is just off.
Yeah,
It's
tell
just
me
off.
about it. I'm pretty sure the Bible's got something to say about these apostate churches out here pretending to be Christian.
Well, it does say that pastors get it like the hardest. So if you're a pastor out here and you're not really taking your job seriously, Judgment Day is going to be crazy for you. That's all I got to say.
That's very true.
Yeah, because we can disagree with him all we want, and he could just be like, I know what I'm doing. I'm saving people and bringing them to the Lord. Okay, bro, if you say so. I'm going to leave it at that. We can agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, you got to talk to God about that. And he knows all. So I can sit here and speculate that all 900 of your people weren't saved off of that Easter play that had nothing to do with Easter and the resurrection and all that. But God knows exactly what it is.
Yeah, you're not fooling nobody. You might be fooling us. Well, not us. Not you and me.
Right.
But you may be fooling some people, but you're certainly not fooling the God who sees all.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and for me, it's even with the clip, not even just the cussing clip, but the clip we reacted to, the
Yeah.
lack of humility is so like blaring. Like he's so ego when
Mm-hmm.
you hear that. I'm not saying he's always like this, but like every instance that I've seen of him has been this way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know about you, Tim Ross.
Yeah. When we did the video, not on this podcast, but like our individual channels, where he was I don't know if you did it on your channel. Now I think about it. I know you did the Easter play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you did the one where Tim Ross was comparing like Jesus to a stripper,
I didn't, but
which
man,
is
that
the
was
bread in
wild.
my pocket clip comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's he said so much crazy stuff as a pastor. It's just when I first heard that, I was just like, bruh, no. How could you even say that, right? Now we're getting to today, where like there's been 50 billion clips since then, but now we're getting to today, and it's just like it ain't nothing to pull up your IP address. I'll pay somebody for it, and I'll pull up on you. It's like, stop it. Nobody is afraid of you. Okay.
Yeah.
And also the fact that you're talking like this is wild. You are a pastor. If you don't like somebody's comments online, I understand. We're all human, right? Me and you have talked about it before. Sometimes you just want to break from YouTube because like it gets overwhelming. You put a lot of work into the content and you might get like negative comments more than positives. I get it. It becomes a mental strain or whatever. But to go that far and you a pastor is kind of wild. Whereas
Yeah.
you should just be looking at it and be like, man, whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm doing. If you truly believe what you're doing is right.
Yeah, why are you getting so defensive?
Yeah, if you believe your church is really saving all these people, okay. All right. Take it for what it is then. You have a big mega church. You have tons of people that come every week. I'm pretty sure the donations are crazy considering how y'all dress on stage, all of y'all, all the pastors. So what's the problem? Go live
Yeah.
life.
What's his face? I think now works with them too. The one that left Hillsong or was fired from it. I don't even know. What's his name?
I don't know none of the Hillsong people.
Carl Lentz. Carl Lentz. I think he's with them now.
Oh, yeah, he might be. I know exactly who this is. Yeah, he is. He went there this year.
Yeah, so look, everybody's fallen. I'm not trying to be ungraceful, but that is a union that is very questionable. Like, if you are Carl Lentz, right? And you've gone through all the scandal and you've gone through all the whatever, is this like your redemption arc through Christ, or is this like going to where the demons are most happy?
Like the clip.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I read in the comment section of that Castlevania clip when they were talking about I guess in the show, that priest and other priests like him, because the water they blessed, because they weren't truly of God, the water that they blessed was not working on the demons. But
Mm,
yet the commoner priests in the city who had like true belief, right? The water that they blessed was working. So everybody was going to them instead. And I can see that. I can see that because when you look at a lot of these like mega churches and prosperity churches and all this craziness, right? A lot of them, when they speak, they do just sound like motivational speakers. Because a lot of stuff they say isn't biblical. Versus if you go to a local church, like I remember the first one I went to, um, that guy had a whole other job because he wasn't making money being a pastor at that church. He just loved the Bible.
yeah. Some of the
And
churches I went to, that's exactly like my grandfather. I'm pretty sure he made his living by selling crap at flea markets. That's how he really made his living. And then he was a pastor too. But yeah, he had to sell crap at flea markets. And then the church that I grew up in, like later on, I think he worked at a car dealership or something. But
Yeah.
that was his like day job.
Yeah. That's crazy. My grandfather was a pastor too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a pastor of a church, but he also like had a farm. So he just like worked on his farm and then he would go be a pastor at the church.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know
Yeah. Yeah. See, we have right here.
that. For sure.
Yeah. But I like going to churches like that. It seems more genuine. And it seems like you're actually, like I said, I like going to my church and you like going to the church you go to now. Everything seems more authentic and you're getting like a true biblical knowledge being taught to you versus every time I see clips from these bigger churches, transformation included, since we're talking about Tim Ross and Mike Todd, I never hear anything biblical from them. They're so focused on just trying to fit in with the world to just grab people. I don't know. There's a better way to do it. There's just a way better way. Because when I used to stream, I used to get most of my views off those video game streams. However, I noticed the feedback on that was so insanely positive because I'd be playing Fortnite or something, and I'll just use Fortnite as the example. There'd be a gap because obviously the longer you last, it takes forever to see somebody while the circle closes. And in that time, we're just talking the Bible or whatever was going on at the time. Like there's times we talked about Trump and stuff too. But if we're talking about like the Bible or whatever, you know how many people I had watching that weren't Christian that subbed? Because they were just like, I love what you're doing. I never thought about any of this until I came across your channel. And it's like, hey, this is a way of being in the world, planting a seed, but still being true to like the Bible. Nothing had to get changed. Like literally nothing was changed during those streams. Everything we talked about is literally in the book.
Well, that's really cool. Like, I love that you did that because I know you're currently on hiatus until further notice. But yeah, like God can use any of us. And it makes me think about how, like, these pastors, as your church grows, like, that's got to be a tremendous pressure to, like, you really have to make sure that you are serious with God and that you're constantly like on it because you can, like, it's just like any of us, right? We can really stray, but they can really take a lot of people with them, especially as their congregation grows. And that's why, like you said, the Bible talks about, you know, them being held to a higher standard. Yeah, we have influence. You know, whoever comes across our videos, you know, something we say could, you know, plant a seed, or they don't like it, so they turn away from God even more. That's kind of scary. But these guys, like, does he understand when he says, I'll find you in 72 hours, you know, some guy in India? Like, do you get what you're doing? Do you, like, does that dawn on you at all, Tim Ross? Like, I don't understand.
Nope, he does not understand.
It's crazy.
You know what? Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe he'll get it one day. Like, I know I referenced back to, I think I mentioned this before, where like Creflo Dollar, because, you know, he's been a pastor for all these years. It took him like a couple months ago where he finally told his congregation, he apologized to them because he was like, hey, I just learned what this was and I didn't know it all these years. And I apologize for not properly teaching this to you. Or he had said something like that. And I remember looking at that clip sideways at the time because I'm like, bruh, you've been a pastor for how many decades? And you're just now figuring this out? And I'm like a baby. And I done figured that out like off rip. Where you been at?
Mm.
Like, what type of congregation is this? So, I don't know. On the brighter side of things, maybe at some point they'll get it, right? If they're lucky enough to live like a long life and not have a tragic accident or something that takes them sooner, maybe they'll get it before they die. Maybe they'll turn things around and become better pastors. Because one could only hope, because you don't want somebody to be like this like forever, even though it's a possibility, but you don't want them to.
Yeah. And how many countless people they're taking down with them. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
just hope that they come to repentance, because like you said, the judgment is serious for people who teach.
Yes, it is.
And that humility, he's got to work on that humility. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, they both do. They both do. They both have a attitude, and I think Mike Todd really has it because Tim Ross was his mentor.
Mhm.
So I mean, to be fair, if you're looking at your mentor act a certain way, and you're gonna be like, "Well, I'm gonna act like that too," because that's how it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
So he's also being kind of led astray as well. He don't know no better.
Yeah.
It's gonna take like, I don't know, a complete overhaul. Like somebody new is gonna have to be in charge of that church. Like whoever actually runs it. But I don't know. Until then, we gonna keep getting crazy clips from that church.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
So I don't know. But guys, let us know what you think. As always, in the comment section down below. We would love to hear what you have to think about Tim Ross, Mike Todd, Transformation Church, mega churches, whatever you want to talk about. Let us know in the comment section down below, and maybe we'll pick your comment to talk about in next week's episode. Okay, guys, that has been another episode of So This is the World Christian Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Michelle, your other host, Jasmine. Thank you for joining us as always. Once again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe so you never miss when we drop videos, and make sure to follow us on Rumble. The link is in the description down below. Like I always say, you never know what's going to happen with YouTube, man. Like, we get it every week now. This is what they do to us. So with that said, now that we're done, head over to Jasmynne's channel. She has a new video up this week where she's actually reacting to your guys' comments from the previous week's video. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't seen it already. Her channel is called Bow Reflections. I almost forgot. It's called Bow Reflections. Make sure you go check that out. Then when you're done, head over to my channel. It's called It's Your Girl Saying. I should have at least one new video up because it's already planned, and I already promised my family it would be up.
Now you gotta deliver.
I had right now. I have to do it. So make sure you check that out, and we will end up seeing you guys next time.